Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the Q4 and Q1 release highlights. So we're going to go through absolutely everything that we have released in the last 6 months. There's lots of goodies in this webinar, so I'm excited to show you. My name is Jessica, and I'm the Customer Training Manager here at Fixflo. Just to let you know, this webinar will take us about an hour to get through, and I am recording the webinar. So absolutely everything will be able to be rewatched if you would like to, or if you'd like to share it with your colleagues at all. So I will send you a recording by the end of play today. Excellent. So there's quite a lot in the agenda today. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is going through the key improvements. So on that, we've got some really big and really exciting planned maintenance changes, which I'm going to be showing you. Then I'm going to be showing you that you can now send SMS notifications via comments. We've made some big changes as well to the contractor task to do emails. So they are the key improvements really, which I'm going to be going through on today's webinar. And then we've also got some improved features. So this includes being able to tag entities, being able to select brands on properties, contractor statuses, and also being able for contractors, to be able to set appointments with a date, with a time, The fact that you can now revoke your T's and C's as well as accept them. Other users, so we're talking landlords and contractors, are now able to report issues without a reporting occupier. This is something they couldn't do before. We've improved the way you can add pictures to your guidance and advice pop-ups. You can now also bulk deactivate people and properties to keep your data neat and tidy. And finally, we have added a kind of filter clarification on the period filter on Copilot as well. So I'm really excited to show you these changes. Just to let you know, I have added a few polls to this webinar as well. The next thing I want to talk to you about before we get cracking on the webinar is Fixflo Academy. So many of you may have heard of this. Some of you, this may be new for. So Fixflo Academy is a clear training platform which features on-demand videos. It has a live webinar included. You can get some downloadable takeaway slides, take part in our quizzes, and also receive a certificate upon completion. It is here for lettings clients only at the moment, and it is here for you and your team to learn all about Fixflo. So we have some fantastic introduction courses, and this allows you to learn the core features of Fixflo. It's absolutely brilliant for any new starters or anybody who's really not sure about anything on Fixflo. For those of you not using planned maintenance, which again, it's about 50% of you who's answered my poll so far, we have a fantastic planned maintenance course. Now, I would highly recommend, if you would like to use planned maintenance, to ensure that you do actually do the planned maintenance course on Fixflo Academy first. It's very easy to sign up to. All of the courses are completely free of charge, by the way. And we also have some short courses available as well. So short courses, there's like a half an hour promotion course, a half an hour one on agent and team assignment, and also a 45-minute course on the contractor side of Fixflo. So these are all here to help you train and understand Fixflo better. Now, I'm just really launching, a second very quick poll here. Excellent, guys. So from what I gathered in the poll, many of you do not keep on top of the releases. Of course, I understand that you are busy people and you've got a lot going on, but the releases are absolutely fantastic, and it really does add a lot of value to your Fixflo site. We release every 2 weeks. Our next release is actually this week now, which is exciting. And this will include new features. So we release new features every 2 weeks, improvements, and of course, bug fixes as well. If you do contact us about a bug, we will get back in touch with you to let you know once that has been fixed. But of course, we do try to prevent bugs happening, and we try and catch them early. So what should you be looking out for? If you are interested in keeping on top of our releases, then that is absolutely brilliant. We do send an email when there's kind of a lot of releases that relate to you. Some stuff is more kind of back end, which just helps with system improvements, etc., in terms of stability. But if there is anything kind of big that we think you should know about, of course, we will be sending you an email. You might also see a pop-up within the product as well, just to let you know about the release. If there's anything that's kind of very wordy, there might be a little video of myself or one of my colleagues explaining something new for you. And also we keep all of our release notes available on our help site, which is help.fixflo.com. So you can always keep on top of our releases. And like I say, these go out every 2 weeks. Brilliant. The final thing before we start the webinar is I want to tell you about our new and exciting integration with KeysApp. Now, this is a system which now integrates with Fixflo, and it allows you to keep on track or to track your keys across your portfolio. It essentially takes the stress out of managing keys manually, saving you time and money, and also the embarrassment of potentially losing keys and having to tell the landlord. Now, with KeysApp, it works by basically attaching fobs to keys, and the fob is then scanned on both sign in and signed out. So you can always keep on top of where your keys are and no key goes missing. It therefore creates a log, like an accurate log of where keys are. And you can also set out automatic chasers to go out when keys are late back. So if a contractor hasn't returned a key, for example, you can always send out an automatic chaser, saving you time. And you can also reserve keys for future dates as well. So there's quite a lot of exciting things that KeysApp can do, and it can really take the stress out of managing keys for you. So if it is something you find a headache, I'd be really, really happy for me to get in touch with you regarding our integration on KeysApp, and I can also set up a demo. So what I can do, if you let me know if you would like to know more about KeysApp, please let me know. We do have an integration with it. It is exciting. And like I say, it can really help you to keep on top of your key portfolio, which I know can be a real headache for managing agents. So please let me know if you'd like to be in charge. If you'd like me to reach out. And that is the last poll until the very end when I'll ask for feedback. So I apologize for all the polls, but thank you so much for answering. I will be so pleased to reach out to you if you are interested. Excellent, guys. I'm now actually going to move on to the webinar. I'm about to close that poll. So if you would like me to reach out, please let me know now. And then we're going to move on, and I'm going to start with the planned maintenance changes, which are super exciting that we've done in the last 6 months. Now, usually with these kind of quarterly release webinars, I do them every quarter. I don't leave it to kind of 6 months. It's just, unfortunately, I wasn't very well in January, so I decided just to kind of lump it all together. Excellent. So I've just closed that poll. Thank you to everybody who responded on that. And I'm going to start with showing you how you can now give your landlords an overview of the works planner. So for those of you who use planned maintenance, you will be very familiar that you can click here on planned maintenance, click into a property here, choose the property. For example, if I go to Fixflo House, and it will take you directly to this works planner, which gives you an overview of how compliant you are being for this particular property. Now, something we added in the last 6 months is the ability for you to allow your landlords now to also view this works planner. Now, this can only be set up on a full landlord basis. So you cannot set this up on a per landlord basis. You either turn it on for all landlords or you have it switched off. Now, administrator users will be able to play with this setting by clicking here on setup on the left-hand menu sidebar, clicking on settings, and then scrolling to the very bottom where there is a planned maintenance setup option here. Now here, this at the very top, it's this setting we're looking at today. So it's allow landlords to view the works planner for their properties. If this is switched to yes, that means then that a landlord can log into Fixflo, click on my properties. Gosh, sorry, I do apologize. Let me log back in as the landlord. Thought I tested this earlier. I do apologize. One moment. Okay, sorry. So we're now in as the landlord. They can click here on My Properties, where within here they can go, for example, to that particular property, and they will be able to see the works planner by clicking here on the works planner tab. So here, for example, they'll be able to see that everything is fully compliant and that pending events are set, and they'll be able to hover over those and see when those issues are going to be created. They can also obviously skip into the future to see what else is going on. And they will be able to see non-compliant. So if any service events are not compliant, they'll be able to see that. So they won't just be able to see the good ones. So it really gives you a bit more onus on making sure that you are keeping on top of all of your planned maintenance service events. So for example, if I go to My Properties here and I scroll down, they will be able to see, for example, if it is a blank works planner as well and that nothing has been set up. So you can, of course, give your landlords this visibility. Like I say, it's a setting that's either on for all landlords or off for all landlords. And again, it is set by administrator users by going to Setup, Settings, opening up plan maintenance and ensuring that this is set to yes. If you want to make any changes here, of course, you can do so and just press Save Settings. Next, every time a service event is now, when the instruction date comes through and the service event creates an IS number. So again, to understand these plan maintenance changes, you probably will need to be using plan maintenance. For those of you who are interested in using plan maintenance, please remember you can always sign up to Fixflo Academy, sign up to the plan maintenance course and learn all about it. It is a brilliant way to keep compliant with your statutory and non-statutory events. But on the instruction date of a service event, an IS number will be created. Now, what you can now do is you can send out an email to the landlord to let them know that this has now been created. Just to show you, again, administrator users can click here on the Setup and Settings, and they can click on the Notifications tab here and open up Landlord Notification Defaults. And it's just this one here, sent when a new service event issue is created. And by default, this is set to send, just to let you know. So that will be set to send. Again, you can amend it if you want to. And if you do want to change that to do not send, you must remember to press save. And again, this is either switched on for all landlords or switched off. The email that will go out will look something like this. So it will say dear, and it will have, of course, your landlord name here, and it will say, please see the status of the issue. So it explains to them that this has now been created. This one will show as the current status awaiting instruction, sorry. So they'll be able to see all of the details here. And of course, it will be white labeled. So it'll have your logo and color scheme as well. And it lets them know in this scenario, they have got nothing to do at this point. It's just creating some awareness. They can click on view issue to then view that as well. So that does allow them then to have more visibility of what you're doing with regards to plan maintenance by being able to see the works planner and also receiving an email notification when an event creates an IS number. So that will be on the instruction date. Excellent. Again, for those of you using plan maintenance, you probably use this absolutely fantastic tool called the compliance matrix, which sits just here. Now, with this, what you can do is you can now filter this out even better. So the compliance matrix basically shows you all of your properties and just how compliant they are. So this is a really, really good tool to use. It's kind of a wider picture of everything. And then you've got, of course, the works planner on a per property basis. So with this, if, for example, you do have properties allocated to certain agents or teams, what you can now do is you can click on this little drop down arrow, which opens up a number of filters, and you can actually filter this out by agent or team, which is new. So if, for example, Jessica, so myself, I'm looking after a certain number of properties, I could click here on search and I can now view those two properties on the compliance matrix. Because if you are looking after certain properties, as an agent or in a team, that's what you want to focus on. It's brilliant what everyone else is doing, but you want to make sure that what you've got is compliant. So this is a really exciting new filter that we've set up. And another thing that we've done on the compliance matrix is you can now export it even better. So you can export either just this page as a CSV, which is obviously an Excel document, or you can export all of the pages now. So you can export, for example, here, you can see I've got 3 pages. I could export them all down to a CSV if I want to, which I think is really quite exciting. Okay, brilliant. So in order to keep your data tidy, and a lot of you said that your data is tidy, if you have accidentally added planned maintenance service programs to your system, and actually you've noticed that actually that's not quite right, you can now remove an entire program, which is something a lot of people asked us for. So you asked, we listened, we have added this for you now. Again, within planned maintenance on your left-hand menu sidebar, from this drop down here, you can click here on service programs, and this shows you kind of all of the programs that you have. You can easily, so again, if you have made any errors, you can click on options and bulk archive, and you can choose the ones you want to remove. For example, these 2, and you can then bulk archive those entire kind of series if you want to. So you could say reported an error, press confirm, and then that will then disappear for you. So it just means it allows you to tidy up your planned maintenance data if it has been added incorrectly. So I think that's really exciting. Brilliant. I also now want to show you the biggest change that we've made to planned maintenance. It essentially allows you to have a whole new workflow within planned maintenance. So previously, what you could do is when you were adding planned maintenance events to Fixflo, you would be able to instruct a contractor. This meant that on the instruction date, if you had a contractor set, the issue would be automatically sent to the contractor and the issue status would be job awarded, awaiting appointment date. Now, a lot of people said to us, well, what if we want our landlords to go to the landlord first and get the landlord approval for that service event? We've now added that, which I think is really exciting. And maybe some of you have already seen this. So just to show you, if I go to planned maintenance here and I go to properties, I'm just going to go into a property here. And as you can see on this works planner, I have got absolutely no service events at all for this particular property. Now, something new and exciting is when you click to add a new event here. First of all, you would add the event template. You should really add the last completed date, because then it backdates everything for you and it tells you that actually you are currently compliant. So it allows your works planner and your compliance matrix to be up to date and show you as compliant. So this is, although it's not mandatory, I always highly recommend people add the last completed date here. You can then add a works due by date. You can add an assigned agent if you want to. You can add a contractor. So as I said before, on the instruction date, then this will go automatically to a contractor. So you can set them if you want to. You can have requires review set to yes or no. If requires review is set to yes, that means that once the IS number has been completed and closed, you will then need to complete and close down the service event as well. The 2 do remain linked throughout the journey. So it does allow you then to just make sure that everything's happened correctly. And you can also update due dates going forward if you if the dates don't match quite right. But if you change this to no, it means that as soon as the IS number is closed down, the service event will show as completed. And again, that will then update on both your compliance matrix and your works planner. You can set a reviewing agent if you have requires review turned on. I'm just going to turn that one off for now. And this is the new change. We have now got requires landlord approval. So again, guys, for any of you that are not using plan maintenance and feel like this is quite a lot of information, please go to Fixflo Academy and learn about plan maintenance on our free plan maintenance course. I'd be so happy for you to sign up to that. But with requires landlord approval, this means that you can now switch this to yes. And you can in fact ask your landlord for approval on the service event first. You've got your approval interval here. So this is set to, for example, 90 days. Of course, you can amend this on a per service event basis, and the approval date then shows here for you. So on the 3rd of June, what will happen is the landlord will receive an email asking for their approval. You've then got your instruction interval days. So this is when the IS number will actually be instructed and the IS number is created. And that will go to the contractor if you have a contractor set in here, and that will be on the 11th of August. You can add instruction notes, and of course the beauty here is that you can set this to repeat on, for example here, a yearly basis. If you add an until date, that will continue to recur until that particular date. If you do not add an until date, it will recur forever, so continuously. Okay, once you are happy with all of this, so remember guys, I've added landlord approval. The reason I don't add the landlord name here is because the landlord should already be attached to the property if your data is correct and up to date. But once happy, you can click save. And the first thing you will see here is that this has now set to a pending event. If I go back into the property and takes me to the works planner, I can see that this is currently showing as completed. The reason being is because I added that last completed date, which, as I said before, is not mandatory, but I would recommend. And this is now pending. If I click into the pending event, I can see that actually on the 3rd of June, this will send off to the landlord, but I can also click here to request approval now and bring that forward and then press confirm. The issue status, or the service event status will then update to AA, which is awaiting approval. And the landlord will now receive this email here to say that this is now awaiting approval. It's really clear on the email what they need to do. I'm going to give you a second just to read that. And one thing I want to mention to you is that on the planned maintenance course on Fixflo Academy, these changes unfortunately are not there yet. So landlord approval will not be trained out, but it is something I'll be adding in the next couple of weeks. So watch this space, but you can learn all about everything else and on the planned maintenance course for now. So I hope that all makes sense. They can then click here to respond to agent, where they can log directly into Fixflo. It says that it's awaiting approval here, and they can either approve that they're happy for this to go to Reggie Roofing, or they can say actually they want themselves to do this. Once they've approved this, for example, they can see this has now been approved. They can, of course, reset it if they chose the wrong option. And once happy, just going to go back into the service event as the agent now. You will see that it's gone back to pending. We can see here that the service event has been approved by Michael Moonling, and yeah, it will then basically be instructed straight to the contractor on the 11th of August. Of course, again, you can push it forward by clicking here on instruct now, but I do hope that makes sense. We've added that whole new workflow now around being able to send this off to the landlord for approval before it goes anywhere else. I hope that makes sense and has given you a really good insight as to some really big and exciting changes that we have made to planned maintenance over the last 6 months. Again, we've got the Academy. I will be updating that, and hopefully that is something that you guys will start using. Brilliant. The next thing I want to talk about is SMS notifications. So with SMS notifications, the benefits of using this is that it's a better way of keeping occupiers and also other parties in the loop. Texts are hard to miss, guys. Let's face it. I'm here. I've got my phone on me now. I'm not going to miss a text today. I'm sure you guys have your phone with you as well. So it's an absolutely brilliant way of keeping people in the loop, whether it's to do with the workflow or a comment. You can choose your notifications for workflows, and you can now send comments as text messages too. So that is what I want to show you. That is the new change. Just to let you know, texts are 4p per text. They used to be 6p a text, but we have reduced the price. First of all, administrator users will need to accept the SMS T's and C's first of all. So in order to do this, they must click here on setup and settings. If these are not agreed to, texts cannot be sent out via your system. There is a little T's and C's tab just here. And by clicking on that, they can scroll down. Just to as well show you here, this is the Fixflo Academy T's and C's. It says additional feature, but it doesn't cost any extra. So for those of you that want to use Fixflo Academy, you must have agreed to the T's and C's here first. But for now, I'm showing you SMS, and this is where you would agree to the T's and C's. I have already agreed to mine, but this is exactly where you would agree to them. And once you can do that, that's when you can then start to use SMS for both part of notifications for workflows, as well as being able to send SMSs as a comment. In the workflow, just to show you, this is older than 6 months old, but it can be done in the notifications tab. So again, this can only be done by administrator users. By clicking on notifications, and this is only for occupiers at the moment to do with the actual where we are with progression of the issue. It's a brilliant way of keeping them in the loop, and you must make sure that the notification type for SMS is set to send on the notifications you want to send them to. So you can keep your occupiers in the loop by email and by text throughout the progression of the workflow. And this is something that occupiers really, really like. It is 4 pence per text. So if you have it as part of the workflow, that means as soon as, for example, you have instructed the job to a contractor, that SMS will go out as well as the email if both of these are set to send, and it will charge you the additional 4 pence per text. In order to send this now via comments, which is new, you can do this by clicking into an issue here, going into an issue like this, and going to the comments tab. Now, when you send comments, as you guys probably know, comments is a key feature on Fixflo, and this can be sent to any party. Of course, you must ensure that you do have their mobile number added to their profile on Fixflo. You could then say you want this to be sent to Ben Harper. You could pop the message here. And when you press send, you've got this additional little arrow. If you click there and click send with SMS, it means he won't just receive a text, but he will also receive the email as well. And of course, there'll be the additional 4 pence charge, but it is a brilliant way to reach out. On the comment, it will say that they have received a comment, and they can click here to log in and see that comment. So it won't actually have the whole comment in the text, but it will let them know that they have now received a comment via Fixflo. So I hope that's something that you're excited about as well. The fact that you can now send texts via comments, and hopefully it is something you really start to use. Brilliant. So guys, one of the biggest kind of pain points we understood from contractors, and I'm sure you've heard this from them as well, is that they were receiving far too many tasks to do emails, sorry. These used to be set to go out every single weekday, so Monday through to Friday at 8 a.m, and that was the default. Of course, you could amend the contractor notification defaults on a per contractor basis, and also contractors could do this as well. However, we have now amended this to go out just once a week. So every single Monday now, the task to do email will go out to a contractor, and this will tell your contractors like anything that they've got that day, anything which is overdue, any certification which is overdue as well. So it really helps to keep them in the loop so nothing is missed. So like I say, this is now set to go out once a week on a Monday morning, which is far better for contractors. And we have in fact seen contractor happiness increase. It is something that we track, and it is of course something we care about. We do understand that they are key stakeholders, and we want to ensure that your contractors are enjoying Fixflo as much as you. Just to show you again, so this is another administrator user permission by clicking here on setup and settings. This is set to default for all of you under the notifications tab. Once again, you'll need to open up contractor notification defaults, and you can see it is here. When you have an outstanding task to do, so this is a task to do email, it's set to send every Monday. Of course, you can amend this for all of your contractors using this little drop down here. So you can set it to do not send. This is not recommended because it's important to chase your contractors on things which are actually outstanding. Send every day, send every weekday, and every Monday. I genuinely think every Monday is best because, again, it doesn't overwhelm contractors with too many emails, but it does just keep them in the loop with anything missing. And if you want to change this on a per contractor basis, of course you can as well. Contractors can do this themselves as well, but just to show you what you could do, if for most contractors every Monday is fine, but there are some contractors that need that extra chasing, you can click on people, contractors, click into the contractor of your choice, go to the notifications tab and change this one. So again, it's sent when you have outstanding tasks to do. You would click on the edit settings section here, and again, you can amend it. You've got the same settings as you did for the notifications, but this is of course on a per contractor basis. And like I say, contractors can change this as well themselves if they're not happy with how many emails they're receiving. This is a really big and exciting change because we were aware, like I said before, that this was a massive pain point of contractors and they were not happy with the amount of chaser emails they were receiving. Just to show you how contractors can do this themselves, I'm going to have to log out again because I am now logged in as the landlord. Just bear with me 2 seconds and I'll show you where they can do that. Okay, brilliant. So if I'm in as a contractor now and I want to amend this, I would click here on setup. I would go to notifications. And again, I can change this just here. So it's this one again. When you have outstanding tasks to do, instead of every Monday, I could, as a contractor, go and edit that setting as I just showed you before. So that is something contractors can do. If they're not happy with that, they can amend that. You will not receive a notification if they change their notification settings, just to let you know. Brilliant. The next thing I want to show you is how you can now tag entities. So something we added again, it was relatively recently, but it was over 6 months ago, is that you can now tag issues. It's a brilliant way for you to be able to, so let me just show you quickly. So if I click into an issue here, you have got this additional option now to be able to add a tag. For example, you may want to add tags to have locations, perhaps issue statuses that we don't have, major works, anything like that. Of course, you can pop the tag in like this and press save. And what this enables you to do is have the tag here, which you can of course see. You can remove it if you want to, and it allows you to narrow down your searches. So if, for example, you wanted to click on issues now and issue search, you could again open up this little drop down filter. This is a classic drop down filter that we have available for most of our searches, allowing you to narrow down what it is that you're looking for. And you could scroll down to tag, add a tag here, and you could then search for all of your issues with a tag with London. So it allows you to kind of group together these issues. As well as being able to tag issues, you can now tag other entities such as people and also properties. So for example, here, if I click on a property here, I can easily add a tag to this property. So I'm going to go with London once again. Press save. And again, it then allows me to narrow down that search. Again, using this little filter here, searching for all of my properties, which I have a tag of London, and pressing search. So I then have those 5 properties grouped together. I guess the use case of this would be, or the benefit would be, if any of you use the Copilot tool, which sits just here, you can then use tags, I believe property tags, in order to say that all of your properties with a certain tag you want to set up as a filter. So that can be a really kind of good benefit of being able to add tags. You can also add tags to people, like contractors, etc. So hopefully that is something that you can use. The next thing is for people who have got brands set up on their Fixflo site. So essentially with brands, what this allows you to do is it allows you to have 2 different URLs with different brands. They might have different logos and color schemes, but you have the same backend. So different occupiers might go on to different brands to report their issues, but everything comes into this exact same backend here. If you do have brands set up, you can click here on properties. You can click into a property and you can now actually set a property as a brand so that the right kind of logos and all of that goes out in the right emails for this particular property. So that is something that you can now do. Excellent. Next, I want to talk to you about contractor statuses, which I think is actually really, really exciting. So I'm in here as a contractor. And with the workflows, what used to happen is, say I'm a contractor here and I go into an issue and I actually want to decline the job. The issue then for the agent goes back to the reported status, but that doesn't really make sense as a status for the contractor. So the statuses now that contractors see actually make sense to what they've done. So say for this job, it's job awarded awaiting appointment date. That makes sense currently to the agent and also to the contractor who can currently see this issue. If, however, as the contractor, I decide, actually, I'm going to decline this because I'm unavailable for work then, not available to do this, they can click decline job, and rather than the issue status showing as reported, which it would do now for the agent on the contractor side, it shows here as job declined because that is the status for that particular contractor. I hope that makes sense. So we do have kind of a range of contractor statuses, which then make sense to what the contractor has done, rather than just showing the agent status, which may not make a full amount of sense anymore. We also now have a new setting where when a contractor does set an appointment date like this, they are asked for an appointment date. And the time used to show as any. That would always be the default. And I understand that a lot of contractors would leave it there and press save appointment date. All they would do is set the date. Now this is set to not set. So contractors cannot move forward now until they've actually provided a time, which I think is much more beneficial for you because you actually get a more accurate time as to when the contractor is going to go and do the work, as does the occupier. So rather than them just bypassing this because it's set to any and they now need to actively go in and add an actual time for the date that they're going to go and do the work. Brilliant. Guys, we are getting through all of this. So the next thing I want to show you is, again, back on the agent side, where you as an agent, again, if you are an administrator user, can now revoke T's and C's. So for example, you've got T's and C's on Fixflo Academy and on SMS notifications. If you have accepted something, but actually you want to revoke those T's and C's, 100% you can do. If you're the administrator, by clicking on Setup, Settings, and T's and C's just here. By scrolling down, you can, for example, click on SMS and say that you would like to revoke the acceptance of these T's and C's. And that means then that no SMSs will go out anymore and you cannot send them on comments either. This is just something you can now do. So I wanted to show you that as well. Brilliant. So guys, of course, you have different users on Fixflo. For example, you have contractors and landlords. And before, what would happen is they could create issues, but they would always have to add the occupier contact details. They no longer need to do this. So if you are logged in, so I'm here logged in as a contractor, and I want to create an issue on behalf of an occupier, I can click on create issue, but I may not actually want to add the occupier. So as the contractor now, I'm going in, I'm popping in the details here. Like this. Brilliant. Next, don't need a photo. They, of course, have to add the address because you as an agent need to know that. But when it comes to the contact details of the occupier, they can say actually now yes or no, whether they want to add an occupier. This is the same for landlords. This is new. Before, there was no yes or no. This wouldn't be there, and it would just insist that they add all of the details. The contractor might not have that to hand, so they can now much more easily report issues and not have the reporting occupier there. Okay, another brilliant change, which is something I really, really like, is that you can now very, very easily add photos to your guidance and advice pop-ups. Now, guidance and advice pop-ups, they are the pop-ups which show on the occupier side of Fixflo when they are reporting maintenance issues, and they can help to filter out issues that should not be coming through to you. For example, issues which are occupier responsibilities, perhaps mildew in the bathroom or batteries and smoke alarms. And also it helps occupiers with first time fixes, for example, boiler issues. It provides them with some kind of safe and simple options to try at home, such as perhaps, is there credit in the meter? Is the boiler even turned on? Is it the pressure? These things can make a massive, massive difference. And actually, you don't need to send a contractor out. Occupiers can fix the issues themselves. So I love the guidance and advice pop-ups. They are a real USP of Fixflo, in fact, and we have now made it so much easier for you to add photos to these pop-ups. You can, of course, add videos, GIFs, etc. But if you ever have tried to add a photo before, you may have really struggled. So again, administrator users can do this by clicking on Setup and Content Edit and clicking here on Fault Tree Pop-up. And this shows all of the faults, the kind of guidance and advice pop-ups that you currently have. If I scroll down and I say, for example, go to a water leak, let's say that. Now here you've got the guidance and advice pop-up. Of course, you can click on preview to see it. So this is what the occupier would see. And like I say, it can help to filter out issues that shouldn't come through to you. If I wanted to add, say, another photo here, I could obviously click to the place I want it, click on these three dots and click on this little image. And it used to just be general, where you'd have to like put in the source. And to be honest, the whole thing got very, very confusing. Not just for you guys, even for myself, I always struggled a bit with this. So we now have a fantastic little upload section where you can literally drop an image here or browse for an image. You can pop the image in like this, press save, all of that source stuff adds for you, and there it is. It is so much easier. So ensure that your guidance and advice pop-ups are right, and you can add images now really, really easily. If you want to embed videos, that can be brilliant as well, you know, showing occupiers how to do things such as increasing the pressure on boilers. Of course, there are articles on our help site which will help you with how to embed those videos, and it is also explained actually on Fixflo Academy on the introduction course. If you want to access our help site, of course, you can do so by clicking here on Need Help, where you can search for our articles and also our videos by clicking here on Search for Help. And guys, if you do not find the answer through an article or video, always reach out to us here by clicking on Contact Us. But I would recommend that you start with searching for help first, as it is the quickest way to get an answer. Okay, brilliant. You can also, so lots of you actually said you were really happy with your data on Fixflo, which I was really pleased to hear about. But if you do feel like actually things are a bit out of whack, what you can now do is you can bulk deactivate people and also properties really easily on Fixflo. To do so, for example, if I click here on properties, if your property data is not quite right, you can now click on options and bulk actions, where you can, of course, click through and then deactivate properties here. You can also reactivate them easily as well. Of course, you will need to make sure that you're actually searching for your archived properties first, but it's a really easy way to do that. And you can also do this, for example, in your contractors, where you can click on options and bulk archive to bulk archive any contractors. Obviously, if your contractors shouldn't be on Fixflo, it's probably best just to archive them off. And rather than having to click into each one separately and clicking on the archive button, if you've got multiple ones you want to archive, you can easily do that, keeping your data even more neat and tidy. Excellent, guys. We've got one final change to show you, and this is all to do with Copilot. Copilot is your friendly works automated assistant. It allows you to essentially automate works when an issue is reported. So when an issue is reported on Fixflo, the first thing that will actually happen to that issue is it will come to Copilot and it will say, has exactly what's been reported, does it match any of the rules here, and should something get automated off to, say, a contractor? This is a really brilliant feature, and for anyone that's looking to automate works, it can only be done at the reported status. Please do check out our help site for more information on Copilot. But just to let you know, when you do add rules and you set filters up, one of the filter options here is that you can set up a period. This is a non-recurring period of time, and it used to be slightly confusing because when you add a from date, say, for example, from, where are we today? We're here, aren't we? From tomorrow, and you want to do this for, I don't know, till the 3rd of May, just as an example. Now, it's really important to understand that the to date is everything up to and not including that date. So this is actually going up to the 2nd. And it tells you now your period days. So how many days this is actually set for, whereas this used to not display at all. So I think people used to get really confused where they thought the to date was up to and including the 3rd. It actually doesn't include the 3rd here. So here I can clearly see it's 6 days. So I could get to my calendar here and say, okay, if I'm starting on the 27th, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, well, it doesn't include the 3rd. So if I want to include the 3rd, I'll have to do it to the 4th. I hope that makes sense. So it's really important. The to date actually on any of our reports is always up to and not including the day that you've popped in. So it's like up to midnight on that day, if you like. And it's just really clear now here on Copilot how long that period is set for, which I think is really quite exciting. Brilliant. Guys, that is all of the changes that we have now made. Which I think is brilliant. I have just set out a quick feedback poll. One thing I'm just going to do is go through the questions that have come through. If you are leaving us now, I'd like to say a big thank you for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure showing you everything we've released in the last 6 months. Hopefully you can really see the value add that has brought to Fixflo. If you could please just take 30 seconds, if that, just to answer these questions, I would really, really appreciate it. And I'm going to now go through the questions that have come through. Excellent. So somebody has asked, so Amy, hello, thank you for joining me today. With the integration between Repit and Fixflo, is there a way where you raise planned maintenance, for example, a gas safety certificate, that it shows on Repit's works order as a gas safety, not just another works order? Ooh, I'd have to double check that for you. We have got so many integration partners, and on the top of my head, I cannot remember the exact answer on that. But Amy, let me get back to you on that. I will double check to see, because some of our integrations only work for reactive works. I cannot remember on Repit. Let me get back to you, and I'll get back to you by the end of play today. Corey, thank you for joining me. Hope you're well. So when I send a comment via SMS, does it send an email automatically as well, or will I need to do that separately? Very good question. It will send both. So if you go, for example, here into an issue, and you decide that actually you want to send a comment to Ben, as we did earlier, and you've got the message all typed out there. If you go with SMS, it will send us both an email and also the SMS message so that they cannot miss that. So it will go out as both. I hope that makes sense. Excellent. So Mark, thank you for your question. I hope you've enjoyed today's webinar. Can I update the chaser emails for landlords too? When you say the chaser email, so if you click here on setup and go to content edit, in the content tab here, this is where you can edit some of the emails that go out via Fixflo. So you've got the welcome one to the landlord just here, but any of the chaser emails unfortunately cannot be amended. So you can change the landlord FYI. But a lot of these, unfortunately, are just what they are. If there's something in particular that you want to change, please could you email us, just get in touch via need help and contact us. And what I can do is I can get that forward to the development team. If you could let me know specifically why you would want to make that change as well, because they would kind of want to know how that would benefit you, then of course I can get that forward. Okay, thanks. Some landlords don't read things properly. No, I do understand that. If there's anything in particular, just let me know. But at the moment, unfortunately, they cannot be changed. But at least you are getting that information out to them. And remember, you can always go to the comments tab, send them a comment as well, and also send that as an SMS if you wanted to. So SMSs via comments can go to more parties than just the occupiers. Thank you, Mark. Anna, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me. On the contractor having to set their own time before attending jobs, do they have to put that in for all jobs now or just planned maintenance? Anna, thank you for your question. That is all jobs. So before, like I say, it would just say any and they could bypass it. And that's what a lot of contractors did from what we tracked. Now, absolutely any job that goes through to them, they will have to set it because it will say not set. So that's not just plan maintenance job. I'm sorry if that wasn't clear before. That is absolutely all jobs. I know I've spoken a lot about plan maintenance today. So yeah. Excellent, guys. Thank you to everybody who has provided me with some feedback today. I'm going to close the poll in just a moment. I really appreciate you responding. Excellent, guys. I'm going to stay online for a couple more minutes in case there are any more questions. But for now, I'm going to say a big warm I'm going to say thank you so much for joining me. And I really hope you enjoyed the sunshine. It's been a real pleasure showing you the latest releases. Thank you so much. Thank you, Corey. You're very welcome. Bye-bye, everyone.